Good to have everyone here. I'm Sam Lytle. I am the founder of Beyondware. Once or twice a year, we try to have these what's new, what's next, just to keep everyone up to date with the latest of Beyondware and our products. And so this is the first one in 2023. The biggest news of this year is that we now have Brian Sroufe with us. I'll be throwing it over to him in just a minute. And also, we've recently upgraded to Beyond Typicals version 2. So in this What's New, What's Next, we'll be covering what's new with Beyond Typicals, including some demos from Brian. Also, what's new with some of the login and account that we've been working on the website. What's new with enterprise plans. That's something that we're actively working on, and a few other things. And then we'll open it up to questions and answers toward the end. So with that, I'm going to throw it over to Brian to introduce himself and kind of give an overview of Beyond Typicals and then what's new with our product.
Thank you, Sam. Hi, I'm Brian Sroufe. I joined Sam and Beyondware back in December to help do a lot of different things that will grow our user base and improve Beyond Typicals. For anyone that follows me on LinkedIn, you'll see I've been creating some example project tutorials. I've also been building a new user guide and scheduling some one-on-one meetings with our users to help with any technical questions or just give tips on how to build certain things with Beyond Typicals. Before that, I spent about 15 years between a couple of consulting firms, designing and managing transportation improvement projects. From 2007 to 2021, I lived in the Chicagoland area and worked at Civil Tech Engineering, mostly working on urban complete street projects for the Chicago DOT. Then after moving to the Twin Cities area last year, or late 2021, I spent most of last year with Bolton and Mink, again, designing and managing similar road projects in Minneapolis. At Bolton and Mink is where I first heard about Beyond Typicals and met Sam virtually. It was last winter, and we had just been shortlisted by Hennepin County here in the Twin Cities area on an urban roadway reconstruction project. It was something I was familiar with, reconfigure an urban street to improve the safety and mobility for all users of the road in a very narrow space. Naturally, there's a lot of different ways you can organize that kind of a street based on minimum design criteria, parking needs, green infrastructure needs, how protected a bike lane can be, etc. So I was looking for something really cool and innovative to bring to our interview and show how we could create and communicate those alternatives on that project, preferably in a way that would set us apart from the competition. And a friend of mine had just seen Sam demo this pre-public launch version of Beyond Typicals, a drag and drop 3D animated typical section tool that was kind of like Street Mix, but way more powerful. And so I thought, like, this is it. This is what I'm going to bring to that interview. So in just a day or two, I was able to learn how to use it, to the point where I was comfortable opening it up in the interview and building some options and showing that to the county. And we ended up winning the project in no small part due to Beyond Typicals. And from there, my friend and I worked to get it into as many of Bolton and Mink's workflows as possible, between quick proposal graphics or design charrette meetings, or stakeholder coordination, public engagement, and even construction staging communications. All of a sudden, our planners and engineers could communicate a transportation project like they never had been able to do before. Our design staff was empowered to create these amazing visualizations in a fraction of the time and effort it would have otherwise. So over the last year, as I've worked with Sam and incorporated this into those workflows, I kept giving Sam feedback on how to improve the software and make it more usable for me. And his awesome team, our awesome team, kept making it better. So I was becoming this Beyond Typicals evangelist and telling everyone I knew about the product. And so when Sam offered me a position to continue to help improve Beyond Typicals and reach others like me in the industry, I couldn't resist. So here I am. Couldn't be more excited. And now with that out of the way, I will go ahead and share my screen and give a quick demo of the product. I think a lot of us here are pretty familiar with let me make sure that's sharing. Pretty familiar with Beyond Typicals, but I do know there might be some folks here that this could be pretty new for them. So I'll try to give a quick overview of what the product is, what Beyond Typicals is, and what it can do. And then we'll dive into some of those more recent updates. So, like I said, it's basically a street mix like typical section builder. I'll go ahead and start a new example project here. Just go to File, New Blank, and we'll get a new blank project. And we've got a sections pullout where we've got a whole bunch of different elements of a roadway typical section, the most basic being a common lane. So it's just kind of a drag and drop. You can pull things into your system or into your model. You can flip traffic with a keystroke. You can change the widths of those components, and you can change the heights of them as well. So a lot of customization there. You see we have sidewalk and curbs and gutters, parking lanes, buildings. So there's a lot of really cool features here for more rural projects. We've got cut fill slopes. We've got retaining walls. So a lot of cool stuff here, waterfronts. So all of those just being kind of that drag and drop street mix type typical section builder. But you'll see, it's 3D. There's photorealistic textures and lighting, and we've got moving traffic through there. So like I said, there's a lot of customization power with those lanes and heights and widths. You can also customize the traffic. You can adjust speeds, volumes, types of cars or other motor vehicles moving through your typical section. You can adjust the pedestrian traffic. You can increase volume. You can change the demographic of those pedestrians. So a lot of really cool, powerful stuff here to really fine tune your typical section to how you want it to appear. Some of the other customization you can do, again, I threw this together pretty quickly, but you can adjust the length of your section if you wanted to see something longer or shorter. We have lighting, so you can change the environment. We've got time of day customization, sun rotation customization, assets. Let me just pull open a fresh default one. So we've got assets. You'll see we've got some trees here. There's a lot of customization with spacing and randomization there. Like I said, you can adjust traffic. We have a whole library of different types of vehicles that you can turn on or off there. You can increase the volume. You can change the speeds on those. So a lot of great stuff there. Pavement textures, you've got asphalt. You can change to concrete. You could get some fresh asphalt to show some differentiation there. And then just a ton of camera options. So you'll see this is a real-time roadway design tool. From here, you can create still image renderings, or you could create video renderings. So in those cases, our orbit camera function is really nice, or you can add a pan in certain directions. A lot of great stuff there. Let me make sure I'm covering all our bases as quickly as I can. So rendering, like I said, you can render still images or screenshots. We've got our rendering menu here on the right, where you can, with the click of a button, adjust the quality of your render up to 8K. I'll do a low one just for a quick example here, and take a screenshot. So with the click of the button, it will initialize a render of that model. That first one always takes a few seconds. And then we've got a image rendering of that model. You can also do a video that way too. So you can set a length of the video and start recording a video of that typical section as well. So there's virtually endless use cases here. I'm trying to push the horizons on what Beyond Typicals can do. For that, we've got quite a few example projects, and we're trying to grow this list as much as we can with our updates. But this is just a really great thing to show design alternatives. I'll show this construction staging model here, where you'll see we've got multiple phases built into our typical section model. This file where you have an existing conditions, you can go through multiple construction stages. You'll see we've also got these really cool lane arrow features where you can customize things like that to call attention to certain elements in your model. We've got custom labels here, so we've got the ability to add in a lot of information with those to your model. What else we can show? So there's a good construction staging one. There's this is an example project I built recently. This just tries to really maximize showing you what we can do. This includes some of our newer features like stopping traffic. You see I've got this kind of light rail option, and then we've also, so it's like a sideboarding LRT platform. We've got a center boarding LRT platform as another alternative. So it's a great way to show alternatives for different project types. And this could also go as simple as, you know, you're showing a roadway resurface or just a restriping project where maybe you're trying to reconfigure some of the lanes, lane widths, maybe add a parking lane or a bike lane to your road. That's also really easily communicable with this software as well. So I think that'll probably do it. We can answer some questions later, but as Sam said, we did release a lot of new updates. So since November, we went to a full version upgrade. So we released Beyond Typicals 2.0. This included moving to Unreal Engine 5 with improved graphics and photorealism. With that upgrade to Unreal Engine 5, we also added some new section types like water planes and invisible sections and 3D grass and some more cut and fill slopes to make this more powerful of a tool for your typical sections. Then in December, let me show you some of those. Let's pull open a new blank file here. So that water plane, I can show you, just checking our time here. That water plane, we can build in to possibly a ditch. So we've got this cut slope with ballast section. That water plane is here in our list at the bottom. So you see it's just a section with a water element that can then get moved around. So I can push and pull this. We also have a few different sizes if you wanted something bigger or smaller. So just like something you can move independently throughout your typical section to add in water in a certain location. We also have a free pipe section that was new to 2.0, where similarly it operates like an independent element where you can put in a pipe into your sections at a static point. We also have that functionality built into our sections. So each one of these sections has the ability to add pipes to those as well. We've got a nice long list of sizes that you can use and even scale if you wanted to do something elliptical. So that was 2.0. 2.1 we rolled out in December. That included some advanced traffic customization. I'll pull open an example project to show you some of that. Here is a recent example project I created, but some of that traffic customization that we added at 2.1 was the ability to put in stop bars into your model. So you'll see you can temporarily control and stop traffic. Here I'm using it in this model to resemble a mid-block pedestrian crossing where traffic might be yielding to crossing pedestrians. That traffic stop bar is a setting built into each one of these sections. So under the traffic menu, there's a toggle box to turn on using the stop bar. You can assign it to one of our 4 stop bar timing groups and then control the timing of those in our global settings. So you'll see I've got 4 stages here, and we can control how many seconds each of those stages last. Basically, when the stop bar timing group, so timing group 1 is active, that lane will get the green light. And then for all the rest of the duration of that cycle, those vehicles can come to a stop. You can also visualize those. So if you're still trying to build this out and fine tune it, you can turn on the stop bar to see where it's at in your model. That's something you can customize along the length of the section. And you can also turn on the stop sign to see when that traffic is getting stopped. We also, let's see, also in 2.1, we included auto phasing. Let me show you a different example project for that. Auto phasing is really helpful when you're doing a construction staging plan. So here's an example project with a lot of stages where you see we go from existing conditions and we roll through some north side construction and finish the north side and then go through south side construction stages to final. Our auto phasing is something you can turn on to basically cycle through those automatically with a number of seconds. So this is really nice to eliminate some post-production time. I could just basically press record now on a long video and it will automatically cycle through these phases and record those. And you can combine this with that orbit feature for your camera if you find that to be a little more powerful for the visualization you're trying to accomplish. Then most importantly, I'll turn that off. Most importantly, in 2.1 back in December, we finally built in undo redo functionality to our sections, which I know has been a huge benefit for our users. Basically, you can delete or make plenty of other edits to your phase and then go ahead and undo that. All of that history is stored individually on this history list. So I can go ahead and click through to redo or click back to undo. You'll see that that is independent of the phase. So if you're a pro user and you're using multiple models in a phase, you'll see I can go ahead and make a bunch of different changes to this model and then go back to that North 4 and still have my history list, at least for this working session, and make specific undo redo changes on that phase independent of the changes I might have made after that in other phases. So a really cool functionality there built in with undo redo. So then getting to just late last week, we just released version 2.2. One of the greatest components of that, again, let's start with the clean model, our drag and drop asset feature. So we had previously a pretty tedious way to bring in one-off 3D assets into your model. So you'll see something like this tree section here. We've got a primary asset of a beech tree, which I can control as a kind of a repeating asset down the length of that section. But for something like this fire hydrant, that's something that has been brought into the model by itself. So we have an asset tray full of a bunch of really cool 3D assets that can bring a lot of life or depth to your typical section. Like you saw in that example project, we've got some construction equipment, we've got some static pedestrians and vehicles, and I knew that was going to happen. We got a crash. That has not happened to me in a long time, and I'll go ahead and reboot this. Sam, is there anything I missed while I pulled this up?
I think you've covered pretty much everything, all the main stuff. So
All right.
and I have it here as well.
Okay, I was able to get mine back up pretty quick, but
Okay. Yeah, let me switch it back to you.
Sure.
Yeah, so we have a question. What's the best way to show an ADA crossing when you don't have bump outs or don't want to show raised crossing? I was trying to show one where there is a boulevard between the sidewalk and the back of curb.
Are you talking about this project right here?
So this is Aaron that's asking. Is that what it is, Aaron?
Yeah, it was just so I got boulevard in between the sidewalk and back of curb, so I wasn't able to use like that sidewalk function to show that ADA ramp. So it still had like your normal 6-inch curb in there, and then yeah, grass boulevard, and then your 8-inch or 8-foot sidewalk. And I was just wondering if there's a way to like clip in those ADA ramps that you can drag in. Put in like the curb.
So what we can't do is create the curb cut. There's no, like, these are 3-dimensional elements. So what you wouldn't be able to accomplish is have this curb disappear along that section. You could potentially put in, if you weren't using our 3D grass, you could potentially put in sidewalk. Let me show you what I'm thinking of. And this gives me a good reason to show our drag and drop asset. So I can search for a sidewalk standard here and pull in a sidewalk square. And then we can use our custom tool to go ahead and drop that down just above the sidewalk level. And then use our, I think I put it on the wrong section. Let's try that again. There we go. So we can lower that there. We can adjust the scale of this so we can make it a little bit wider. So you're not getting the depression of the curb, but you could size this to fit between, like over the top of your boulevard, and then use our ADA tiles. Is this kind of on par with what you're asking?
Yeah. Yeah, just trying to show that drop down, area, but it, like you said, that 3D wouldn't be able to necessarily show like basically like a cut-in feature where you could depress that curb.
Yeah. Another thing you could consider, this would take a while, is getting rid of the curb in its entirety, and building in a curb along the way. So you could place a curb here, maybe over the top of just the gutter, as a separate individual element. Since we do have curb, I believe it looks like a parking curb. There might be another asset here that might be named something different, but you could basically take this and try to scale it out longer, and move that into place so that you might be able to have a gap between 2 long curbs in your model.
Yeah, Brian, you could even do a sidewalk section and then just squish it down so it looks more like a curb, and then use those tapered things. And Aaron, I'm telling you and everyone else, I'm going to throw Brian under the bus. Brian at beyondware.com. Send him details about your thing and challenge him. That's something that I like to do.
Yeah.
And see if he can do it. And really, that's what we're here for. That's why he's here, is to help you guys get the most out of this software. And there are a few things that he hasn't been able to do. Right? He did a tunnel project. I've challenged him to do a parking garage project. He already did a parking lot. So it's probably possible. It's not going to be the 5 minutes that you can get on some of these things, but eventually we do want to get more features like that. So that's a good question. We have a few other questions here. Sure. So Josh was asking, what type of imported assets are available and plan to be able to import in the future? For example, are assets from SketchUp's library able to be imported? So we have over 300 assets. They're in that asset tray. You can search them. We also have tags and categories, but you can also import assets. We do have a video on that, and Brian's working on some more training content around that. It's still beta because we haven't tested it enough, but basically I use SketchUp all the time. So if you go into SketchUp and export, usually as an FBX, OBJ would work as well. Both of those file formats are supported, and then you import that, then you can bring in basically anything into Beyond Typicals. So as far as what's planned in the future, we're looking at some more mid-block crossing type stuff, more ramps, more bridge elements, things like that have been requested. But if you guys have stuff, just let us know and we can add it in the future. But until then, feel free to test out that import asset feature. Okay, Sarah's asking, is there a way to show a traffic circle or even a roundabout? Is that something that may be planned? So we talk about this all the time, Sarah. It is currently not possible. We can't do we can't directly do any intersections. Again, we're doing some mid-block stuff and traffic's able to stop. But as far as full intersections, we discuss often if that's going to be part of Beyond Typicals or if we'll even make a more robust product in the future. For example, doing traditional intersections, spooey intersections, roundabouts, diverging diamonds, calling it something like Beyond Streets. right now we're focused on beyond typicals, but we do hope to do that in the future. And if you guys are interested in that stuff, please let us know in these sort of comments. And also we have a roadmap that I'll be showing here in a minute. Add stuff there or vote up those features as you see them. Okay, Bree Adams, is there any way to create your own template to help with consistency between projects? Again, this has been a requested feature. It's on our roadmap. We were just talking about this morning. Pinning sections, pinning assets, customizing from a simplified interface for presentations. All of that has been requested, and I think we should be able to get in 2023, but not within the next couple of months. Okay, Tyson, thanks for your comments. Again, we love your comments. Keep them coming.
Cool. I will cover a couple more things that were new to 2.2. We recently added a couple of different types of moving traffic. So previously we just had these kind of hardcore cyclists. Now under your traffic options, you should be able to filter out or keep in kind of a dual population of cyclist types, but we do have a more casual cyclist with a couple different pedestrian models that are available there in case you don't want that kind of hardcore street level cyclist in your model. We also have as a primary asset you can assign to some of our walking paths, jogging paths, our scooters. So we've got a scooter. We understand, some urban areas are dealing with Lime and some of these other scooter shares. We wanted to show that as an option for moving traffic as well. And you can always adjust the speed of those with your traffic settings there. The other thing I want to touch on is our bridge stuff got a lot more in depth as well. We got a whole bunch of new substructure elements. So some really wide box girders. We had some new bridge railings, and then these cool, we got an arch bridge and a, let's see if I can pull this up, a cable bridge as well. So some really cool stuff there that you can use our scaling and position customization to move those or turn those on or off. Again, we've got a bunch of different box girders. And again, if you're familiar as a pro user with some of our bridge stuff, I think this will be pretty familiar with how to use, where basically you're assigning different substructure elements to each of your individual sections, and then you can use our customization things to move those into place.
Yeah, and another requested feature some of you may be thinking about is the ability to rotate entire sections so that we can get scenarios where you have a road going underneath a bridge. That's definitely a requested feature, but not available currently. But again, we're going to look at that as far as our roadmap for 2023, because we know that will start opening up even more possibilities. And the way that will probably be executed is in layout modes. You can stack up different phases. And if you could just be able to rotate those layouts, then you would be able to display some more scenarios like that. So
yeah, for now we're limited to the rotation of the individual elements like free pipes and earth layers and our assets, but the moving traffic currently just goes north-south through your model.
Yeah, we have another question from Abdullah. Is it easy to replace the background with a screenshot from an actual location, maybe for a 2D cross section? So that's a really good question as well. Another thing on our roadmaps is to put watermarks actually behind your model, but what you can do is you can render out a 2D image with transparency. And so those of you that have worked in graphic design, you might know what PNG, alpha transparency is. And it's basically a green screen that's done for you. And so if you want to do that, you can bring it in and you don't have to trim out the trees and the cars and all that stuff. And that's super nice for compositing. We've got Kurt on here. Kurt's the king of compositing. And in the future, as we're able to get watermarks, then that will be even easier. So good questions, everyone.
I will take the opportunity here to mention that I'm working on a set of tutorial videos. You can get to those on our website under resources. So beyondware.com, resources. We have tutorials. So I'm producing this web series of kind of an introduction to Beyond Typicals 2. Sam had done a great job completing this for version 1, but we figured with version 2, with all the new features, we would recreate these for BT2. So we're almost finished. The last one I've yet to produce is our assets explainer. And then while I'm producing these example project videos, we've also got those up on our tutorial site as well. And then finally, I'm also working on a user guide. So this is under construction, but a document that you can pull up and use as a reference for basically the same thing covered in those videos, but maybe a searchable document is something our users would want to go find a very specific use case as well.
Yeah, and again, if anyone needs some extra help with Beyond Typicals, and this is if you're considering the product, if you're in a free trial, if you're a paying subscriber, reach out to either of us, but Brian's especially our in-house expert. So Brian at beyondware.com, he's got a calendar and we can make sure and get the help that you need. So
yeah, I just posted my link. So it's a calendar link. You can book me for a 15, 30 or 60-minute meeting. It's linked to my calendar. So if you see some availability, feel free to book some time with me and I can walk through some more demonstrations, or we can talk about maybe something you're trying to build that you can't quite figure out.
Yeah, and again, there's so much customization available now with Beyond Typicals too, that something that you may have not been able to do in the past might be possible now, especially with some of the tricks that Brian's been using in developing. So don't be shy trying to send something his way, either via email or on a call, and challenge him to see if he can do that. So awesome. Thank you, Brian. And one thing that's made hiring Brian possible is we were accepted as part of the Tiny Seed Accelerator, which is an investment program. So we're really excited about what that's going to do as far as growth in 2023, being able to expand to more users, hire more people to develop and support our products, and so on. All right, so I'm going to share my screen and go through a few things. All right, Bree Adams is asking another question. In the future, will garages be available in front of single-family houses? And I think Brian feels your pain because he's had to work around that as well. And that's a really good request, because that's something we could probably prioritize for version 2.3, which will hopefully be rolling out in February. All right. So on the note of patching and updates, we have been doing them every month. We did November, December, January. We're going to do February. But after that, we're probably going to slow down a little bit, both from our development standpoint, but also because we know those of you that are using the zipped version of Beyond Typicals, it's hard to constantly re-download the entire thing and install it on your computer. So we will slow down our updates moving forward. This is the roadmap. I posted a link to it in the comments. You can see not only what's coming up, but also what's been done. So if you're curious about what features are new, Brian's been making some really cool videos, but we also have them here. So we have a very transparent development process. We encourage everyone to vote things up and down according to what would be most useful for you, and that helps us prioritize our limited development hours. Coming up in 2023, the biggest thing is going to be enterprise plans, and this has been something that's been requested from our users for a long time. And we know that many of you work for engineering firms or public agencies. You've started using Beyond Typicals and you want to expand. Currently, it's been more challenging because you'd have to buy those licenses one at a time. Once we get the enterprise plans rolling out, then we'll just have an agreement between us and your organization, and we will be able to, and then you'll have a license manager where you'll be able to assign each of those seats to whichever email address you want to. And if you do that and someone leaves the company, then you can replace that, and that will be in your control. And then when you use the license activation in the software, it's going to be very similar, except instead of just one box for a subscription ID, you'll have two boxes, one for the ID and one for the user email for those enterprise users. And we also hope to get a custom branded interface if you would like, so that when you're presenting to a client, it can be a little bit more professional and give the best impression of your organization. We want to offer some custom modeled assets to our enterprise users, and those won't be like right now when you ask for assets, we're going to just make them available to everyone. But when we get these enterprise agreements, we want to offer you the ability to have your own assets that are only available to you. And this is especially useful for certain geographies where you have specific things in standard plans like barrier rail or light poles or guardrail or bridge elements. These things we can model and offer as part of those enterprise plans, custom terms of service, premium support, and so on. And what we're doing right now, because we're working on the technology, we're shooting for a March 1st release of that. But if you are a current customer, or if you want to buy more licenses, buy them now, and we will just line item discount them from your enterprise agreement, because we don't want our development process to get in the way of you guys getting started with Beyond Typicals. And all of our users, we're going to do whatever we can to get early pricing, because prices will be going up. You can see in red on the March 1st, we're going to be moving Beyond Typicals Lite to $9.99 per year and Beyond Typicals Pro to $19.99. And you can see the monthly prices for those that are interested in those as well. I don't know how Brian got like the fun stuff with Beyond Typicals, and I'm talking about enterprise pricing, but this really is exciting, and it's going to unlock, I think, the ability to expand and get this into more hands very quickly. I also want to talk about our website login system. So now starting a free trial or checking out a subscription should be much easier. It's a single page checkout. You just put in your information and then you submit. And the same thing if you go to pricing. If you just want to buy another license, you can. If you don't have an account, you just do here. You check out, you submit it, and then your payment will be charged, and you will have that subscription ID, and it will automatically go there. And Brian was talking about his tutorial videos. If you watch tutorial video number 1 that just came out today, it talks about that process, which is just so much more streamlined than it was before. And if you once you're logged in, then up here at the top, instead of that start free trial, it will now have your name. So if you click that, then you can see your account, you can see your subscriptions. So in this one, I just have, I think, one canceled subscription, but I could go in and I could view the details of that plan, including my subscription ID. Good. And for those of you that have an account, you can go in and add more plans, and you don't have to check out again. If you have a payment card in there already, you just add whatever plan and it will just generate that, because that subscription ID, that's going to be what you're going to want. And so it's really easy to pay for and get those now. You click download, that's going to take you to the download page, and then payment methods, you can add or remove those. You can change your password. And so we've tried to just give as much control to you guys as possible. You can always reach out to us. We can add more plans. We can change things for you on the back end. But the easier it is for you, I think it's just going to be a better experience. Especially, I know many of you are evangelizing this inside your own company. You're trying to work with your IT group or your procurement group. And hopefully all of this makes that process easier for you. So feel free to ask us any more questions about that. And then I just want to talk a little bit more about our roadmap. So another thing that we're working on, again, requested by our users, is what we're calling section database integration. And that's basically the ability to import a spreadsheet and have it displayed as a Beyond Typicals file, edit it, do whatever you need to do, and then export that as an Excel spreadsheet and have that interoperability from a spreadsheet in a database. And this can be used a one-off thing, like someone's been building something in a spreadsheet, or it can be used, hopefully we want to be able to scale it up where you have a bunch of sections, you can bring all that data in and spit out renderings of all those sections. We're trying to work with those in asset management. We know some people have thousands of sections based on their geography. And so we want to work on that, and are going to be really anxious for feedback as well. And also the ability to just pull up a spreadsheet view of your section and see all the data that way, see all of your widths, tabulate it. That's something that's going to be requested and available as well. Export to Sketchfab is another feature that we've been hoping. Let me pull it up. Sketchfab.com if I can type. And Sketchfab is a really cool 3D marketplace, but it's also, I'm clicking and dragging this object around. And so you can see how if you were able to export your section to Sketchfab, then you could actually embed it into your into a website, a project website, whatever you want to do. So again, I'm rotating this around in a browser, and that way you don't have to be dependent on a PC application as much or on renders, but you'll be able to bring it in. I don't know if we'll be able to add the animated assets, especially not starting out, but that's going to be something we're focusing on. Yeah, Adam, this would be super slick to be able to have Sketchfab. And the really nice thing is we're using Unreal Engine, which is by Epic Games, and Epic Games just bought Sketchfab. And so Epic Games has been so good to work with. That's why we use the Epic Game Launcher. They invited us to be part of that for free, which has been great. And with Sketchfab, we've talked about integration, and they're just like, yeah, whatever you need to do, do it. We can help you. And so I think Sketchfab integration is going to be a hit once we get it right. Also, Beyond Typical's cloud, which is GPU cloud-based thing. So eventually the goal will be there will be now no download install, no need for a GPU. You'll just be able to click a link and use or present Beyond Typicals. We do have a demo of that, but that is, we're still working out the kinks. It's only a read-only thing. And so all of these things, we have one main developer on Beyond Typicals right now. She's amazing. She could do all of these things. It's just whatever I allow her to have her priorities on. Right now, she's focused on enterprise licensing. But if you see these and you're like, that would really change things, either vote it up or let us know directly so that we can have that feedback. And then another thing is Mac iOS compatibility. I don't know, Brian and I tend to live in more of a Windows world, but we know that many of you, especially when we get into graphic design, and those unlike the planning and the proposals, you guys are using Mac devices, and Beyond Typicals doesn't work with that. And so we want to try and prioritize how we can get these onto Apple devices, hopefully this year as well. And not just Mac computers, but I think iPad would be really slick for presentations. You can imagine showing up to a public meeting and either moving things around with a person one-on-one or connecting it up to a TV and being able to present that way so that you can leave your laptop at home. All of these things are possible. With Unreal Engine, you can export to those. It's just a matter of prioritization, development, testing, feedback, and so on. So, and then there were some questions about template saving, pin top use section, customizable menu, all of that kind of fits under the same banner of what we might do with that is kind of make a new file. Instead of btip, there will be like a template file. And that's something that we want to look at in 2023 as well. The purple ones are the big ones that I'm looking at, but we do have requests for things like driveways, perpendicular pedestrians. That's something that I think actually could come sooner rather than later, especially you've seen some of what Brian's been working on the example projects and crosswalks, mid-block crossings, being able to have people walk back and forth in conjunction with those stopping traffic, I think would be a really powerful use case for Beyond Typicals and move us forward to the eventual intersections that we're going to get to either in this product or something else in the future. Custom section creator, I don't know if we're going to get to that just because it's working so well as is, and we can add sections as necessary. And with the new advanced texturing, you can do so many things with the existing textures that it doesn't make as much sense. That said, if we do get to a new product, we will have to have some sort of custom section creator because it will just be a more stable underlying system. Integrate custom sign creator. For those of you that have used BeyondCAD, you may have seen the custom sign creator, which is really cool. And I can see use cases for those in transportation, roadway design, being able to design a sign and then just present it really nicely in a section, showing the correct number of lanes underneath, the arrows, all of that stuff would be really neat as well. But again, all of these, we're like kids in a candy store. We want all of these, but it's just a matter of prioritization with our development. So check out the roadmap, and you can always go to it on our website. If you go to resources, Beyond Typical's roadmap, and that will bring that up. All right. And then just briefly on BeyondCAD, for those of you that are using BeyondCAD or are hoping to use BeyondCAD, just in transparency, we're focusing beyond typicals. There's just a lot more momentum on that. BeyondCAD's a bigger problem to solve. So it's currently on the back burner. So the only update of BeyondCAD is we don't have an update for that. But if you are concerned about that, or if you are using it and you're curious about what's going on with that, feel free to schedule a call with me and we can talk more in depth about that and making sure that you guys get the most out of either current or future BeyondCAD subscriptions. But we are definitely focusing on beyond typicals and these drag and drop more easy to use problems because it seems like there's a better use case for it and more momentum on all of that. So Brian, did I miss anything on my list?
Nope, I think you got it.
Okay. We're going to start wrapping up, but if there are questions, this is a good time to have them. Make sure and get the latest update with 2.2 because there's a lot of really cool example projects, and those can be used as much as you guys want. I mean, we like to put a lot of them. There's, I think, 41 now, because I like to show the variety and the expansion of what you can do with Beyond Typicals, but feel free to use them to shortcut your way to a faster project. If you're like, wow, that kind of looks similar, use that work and then just edit it from there. And because there are so many, we have tags to be able to, actually I can pull that up while I'm talking. Tags, so if you're looking for something, with bus, then you click bus, and now it's going to pull up all the projects that are related to buses. So now I can pull up this one, accept, and these are just BTIF files that are built in and shipped with the product. And you can just use them as much as you want. If you want something basic, click on the basics tag and you'll see some just really basic stuff. Like, okay, I just want a 2-lane highway. And then you can go and you can edit that from there. So as we build out more and more example projects, we're going to have just make it easier for you guys to get started on your projects. And if there's a request for example projects, feel free to send that over as well. And then another feature too, I don't know if Brian showed it, but we have recent projects here as well, which is really nice. So now you can just pop these open. And these files are so small that I just love how fast you can open these projects. So I think it's up to the last 5 projects. So you can just bounce between projects. That's really nice. That's gonna be really nice for you guys with meetings, either internally or with stakeholders externally, and feel free to use that feature as well. So I'm not seeing any more questions, so we will wrap this up. I'm going to upload this on YouTube for you guys to reference later. Adam's asking if we have a zipper truck. We definitely don't have a zipper truck. I think I know what you're talking about. Brian, you know what those are?
The ones that move the movable barriers on the Golden Gate Bridge. Yeah, we do not.
Definitely don't have those, but that would be a cool feature. And I could see how that could be useful because I know of places where they change, the typical section changes every day because they change it based on rush hour traffic. And so having that would be nice. So we'll put it on our roadmap, but no promises because that's going to require some animation, some more advanced stuff. So last call for questions. All right, thank you, everyone. We appreciate all of your support. We hope that that this is valuable to you, both what we're doing right now with this webinar and also Beyond Typicals. And feel free to reach out to us at any time. And thank you again. Bye.
Thanks all.